Parles-tu français? Hablas español? Parli italiano? If you've used Babbel, you would. Babbel's conversation-based techniques teaches you useful words and phrases to get you speaking quickly about the things you actually talk about in the real world. With lessons handcrafted by over 200 language experts and voiced by real native speakers, Babbel is like having a private tutor in your pocket. Start speaking with Babbel today. Get up to 55% off your Babbel subscription right now at babbel.com/Wondery. Spelled BABBEL.com/Wondery. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Little Miss Recap contains adult language. Little Miss Recap is intended for entertainment purposes only. April 19th, 1995 started as any other Monday. Across Oklahoma, residents woke up and did what they needed to start their day, their week. Parents woke sleeping children, passed them off to waiting teachers as schools sprang to life. Storefronts prepared for the morning rush as workers flicked a switch and illuminated the neon open signs. But that morning proved to be anything other than ordinary. At exactly 9:02 a.m., a blast that some described as a thunderous roar ripped through the Alfred P. Murrah building in downtown Oklahoma City. The 5,000-pound bomb that caused the blast originated from a rental truck parked in front of the federal building, a rental truck parked there by Timothy McVeigh. Did the 27-year-old Gulf War veteran understand the magnitude of what he was about to do as he parked the yellow Ryder rental truck in a drop-off zone, lit the time-delayed fuses, climbed from the truck, shut and locked the door, and walked away to his getaway car, a 1977 Mercury Marquis parked only blocks away? Did he realize this would be the single largest terror attack on American soil until 9/11? That this would be an event so big it would rattle the FBI for decades? He was counting on it. But what McVeigh was not counting on was the spirit of the city, the determination of Oklahomans to heal together and move forward. The 2025 Netflix documentary, Oklahoma City Bombing: American Terror, provides an intimate account of the events of that morning as told through the lens of survivors, first responders, and law enforcement agents. It's a story of radicalization and of terror, but ultimately this is a story of hope, resilience, and what some call the Oklahoma Standard, the way a city and a state can come together to care for those in the community who need help. For this documentary, I reached out to one of my favorite, full disclosure, probably one of the only Oklahomans I know, Matt Marr of Reality Gaze, to help me talk about this documentary. I will warn you that we do touch on politics here because it is part of the story, and we talk a lot about guns and gun control. So if any of that stuff is something you don't want to hear, I suggest skipping this episode. I want to thank Matt. We had a great conversation. One of the things, though, that I forgot to mention in our discussion, and I just would feel remiss if I did not sort of close this loop, is that one of the people that we hear from in the documentary, Renee Moore, who's a mother whose only son, he was a baby, died in the daycare in the explosion. She, at the end of the documentary, gives a beautiful tribute to her son, little Tony, but also, lets us know that she has gone on to have another son who was born on little Tony's birthday, and how much she loves being a mother and how important it was for her to remember little Tony, but also enjoy motherhood this second time around. So I wanted to close the loop on her story because I realized that I didn't do that in my conversation with Matt Marr. Here's the conversation. I hope you guys enjoy it. And I want to thank Matt from the bottom of my heart. He's one of my favorite people in the world. I want to thank him for being a part of this documentary. So without further ado, here's my conversation with Reality Gaze, Matt Marr. Hi, Matt Marr.
Hello, Amy. How are you?
I'm okay. How are you?
I just realized we're Matt Marr, Amy Archer.
I know.
A-A-M-M.
Mm-hmm.
The illiterates.
And everybody called you Matt Marr, right?
Oh, wait, not the illiterates.
It's alliteration. We're not illiterate. It's early.
That joke was unintentional, but plays very well with this audience, with you. I'm glad. We do have alliteration. Yes, we do
Yes.
have that.
Does everyone call you Matt Marr?
A lot of people call me Matt. I mean,
Yeah.
so the only reason I'm called Maddie is because when I worked at the summer camp years ago, where I met Jake and became friends,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why Jake calls me Maddie. But basically, I got to the camp and I was teaching theater, and my name's Matt Marr. Well, there was another gay man teaching theater that had been there for like 5 years, and his name was Matt Moore. And
No.
I know, and the woman who ran the camp, Nancy Goldberg, said, "Call me." She's like, "Listen, it's gonna be confusing to the kids and the
We
parents.
can't have these two Matts.
It's
No.
too much. So we're gonna call you Maddie." And I was
Okay.
like, okay. I had some cousins that called me Maddie. My mother hated it when I was a kid, but they would call me Maddie, and I never mind. I thought it was cute. So that's how Jake met me and my other friend Lindsay, the OG sissy. And then so when I moved out to California, when she would introduce me just by habit, she would say, "This is Maddie." So in California, everyone calls me Maddie. But in pretty much the rest of the world, like Oklahoma, my friends in New York, all that, they all call me Matt Marr. And that's just,
Yeah.
I remember a woman came to my apartment in college. Me and my roommates were throwing a party, and we were talking. She spilled red wine all over our carpet. I'll never forget it. She got very drunk.
That would have been me.
Yeah. But she said, we were talking. She's like, "I'm so sorry. What is your name?" I said, "I'm Matt." And one of the other friends, "This is Matt Marr. It's his house." And she went, "You're a Matt Marr." She thought my name was like Matt Marr, like she said, I was expecting like an Indian man or something like that, or a woman. Like I didn't know. So
interesting.
I don't know.
Everyone calls me. Well, you have the inner circle. So the inner circle, I'm AIM, like to my family.
Oh,
Hey,
okay,
AIM.
cute.
Or Amy. But then that one ring removed from the inner circle is Amy Archer. I'm always Amy Archer.
Amy Archer.
Like it's just
I
the
like
alliteration.
it. It's the alliteration. My family calls me Matthew.
Right.
And I usually don't care normally what people call me, but if people in the real world call me Matthew, I actually correct them and say, "I'm sorry, that's just for my family."
I think
I don't know why,
call
but
you Matt.
Yeah, you call me Matt.
Yeah.
Or doctors. My doctor calls me Matthew. Oh, and I just have this new doctor, and he's so cute.
I used to have a really hot eye doctor. It was problematic.
Look, I met him for the first time. He was so cute, and then he did a prostate exam, and I had to think about butterflies and vaginas.
Yes,
to like stay focused.
You had to think about your parents having sex.
Yeah, I was like, what's happening?
Well, the eye doctor, they get right up to you. They're right here.
My eye doctor is gorgeous as well.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Okay, so we are here not to talk about anything fun today.
No.
We are here to talk about the 2025 Netflix documentary, Oklahoma City Bombing, American Terror. So this is there's like an American Terror series, I think. I think they did a few other things. They did maybe the Olympic Park. Situation.
Atlanta.
Yeah, I think so. And I think they did Waco, but I'm not 100% sure. But there was a documentary that we covered on Waco maybe 2-3 years ago that was amazing. Highly recommend. I was really obsessed with Waco when I was a young girl.
You and Jake,
Yes.
Me, I was completely avoiding. I didn't avoid. You couldn't avoid Waco, but I didn't read the news about it or anything. But
when Jake talks about like wanting a wishing well and just staring into the well and thinking about life's problems, like I relate to that so hard.
Did you like go into a deep dive of Nazis when you were in elementary school as well?
Yeah. And I read Dianetics when I was a little girl. And I read, I used to carry around this book I had called Inside the Branch Davidians, the story of David Koresh. And I would carry that around.
How worried were your parents?
They were pretty worried, especially when I started to write real dark poetry. But I wanted to ask you, so I asked you to do this with me because you are a lifelong, is it Oklahoman?
An Oklahoman, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. You are a lifelong, born and raised.
Mm-hmm.
And how far were you from Oklahoma City?
I was, I don't know how many actual miles in it. Maybe it's like 60 miles, but like
So like an
basically
hour?
a little over an hour from Oklahoma. I'm from it's southern Oklahoma. It's right in the middle of a town called Lone Grove, which is right outside of Ardmore, right on I-35, in kind of almost on this 30 minutes from the Oklahoma-Texas state line. So I'm about an hour and 10 from Oklahoma City and about an hour and 15 from Dallas.
So as a Oklahoman, this must have been part of your lore growing up, right? Well, you were an adult when this happened,
I was a
correct? Because
sophomore in high school
yeah,
in
we were in high school
1995.
when this happened. I think we're the
Mhm.
same age.
I'm
Oh no, I
46.
was a senior in high school in 1995.
Oh, okay. Bitch, you
So
look young.
thank you. So I remember this vividly, but I can only imagine that being so close to it in proximity and in just where you come from must have been.
I mean, this was it. I thought they did for the most part a well done. They did a decent job on this
Mhm.
documentary.
Mhm.
But I will say I didn't. It re-triggered some memories from me. So,
Mhm.
and I guess I think in a good way. But I was surprised by how affected I was by it.
Yeah.
And because I just it's been 20 no 30 years.
Has it
Right.
been
No,
30 years? Hold
95.
on,
No,
hold on.
hold
95
on.
to 05, 05 to, yeah, 30
It's been
years.
30 years. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
So
30 years this year.
this year, it was in April.
Yeah. Yeah.
I always think about the bombing on April 19th, but I never, and I say like a little kind of prayer but
Yeah.
I didn't realize it was 30 years. I'm going to have to, cause I sent this to my family
Yeah.
and, but it kind of brought back all of it. It
Mm.
brought back the kind of like very like racist Muslim fear that like
Oh
I
yeah.
remember hearing all of that in the
Yep.
neighborhood. If for me though, it was luckily so at the time, just to be brief, but I was a sophomore in high school. My brother was in college at in kind of like a suburb of Oklahoma City. A school's called UCO. He was in school freshman year. I was a sophomore, and at the same time, just earlier that summer, because this happened in April, but earlier that year in the in my basically. My mom got a job. My parents had gotten divorced. My aunt and her husband and their two kids, long story short, but moved into our house
Mm-hmm.
because my mother, at the same time of getting divorced from my father, my mother worked for the IRS for 35 years, 40
Mm-hmm.
years. And so she had gotten a job and she worked in Ardmore in our little town. She got a job and, or a promotion, but she had to be trained in Oklahoma City. So my mother
Mm.
would go during the week and live in Oklahoma City, and then
Mm-hmm.
she would come home on the weekends. She did this for a full year.
Yeah.
And then she worked in Ardmore. And then when I graduated high school, she moved to Oklahoma City. And but so I remember being in class, and when this happened, all I hear is the federal building. And all I know is my mother is working and training for the federal government in Oklahoma City.
Right.
So I have no idea of where my mom is.
Oh my God, that must
So
have been so terrifying.
it it was. I mean, it
Mm-hmm.
was and it wasn't in that it happened so quick.
Yeah.
I didn't kind of realize what's happening, but I remember like there weren't cell phones. We didn't
Right.
have that. So
Right.
I remember going to the office and I'm not a freaker out in I really should put it on if I don't have a dating profile because I don't want to date anybody right now. But if I did, I probably would put I'm your best emergency contact. Like
Yeah,
I'm
you're like a
great.
rock in
I'm
an
like, let's
emergency.
do this.
Yeah.
So even then I was like, keep calm. And I went to the office and I called my aunt who was at home and I said, do you know where mama is? And she said, I don't know. And she at the time kind of basically told me, I don't think she's in the building. Don't worry. She's not
Okay.
there. Later on, she told me she completely lied to me. She was
She
terrified and
didn't
didn't
know.
know as well.
Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
so clearly my mom, this did not die in Oklahoma. I just want to preface this for people if they're going, oh God, as they're listening to this. But about an hour and a half later, I got a note sent to me, just saying, and the note just said, your mom called. She's okay. She wasn't there.
Jesus.
So it was, but I remember we were in school for the rest of the day, but we didn't have any classes. We all just, we were in high school. So we were just watching the TV all day. And, so that was kind of, and my mom talked about, my mom was, and her boyfriend at the time, or ended up being her husband, second husband in Oklahoma City. They thought there was a major earthquake. They were both working in buildings not far from it. And my mother described, and you can kind of see it in the picture, and I've seen it in person. I've been to the memorial, and I've also, I actually drove by and saw the building before it was torn down. It's a massive building. It's on a huge city block. So I think people don't recognize the scale of it. It was only 6 stories high, but it was, goodness, probably. It was long. And so to see a chunk taken out of the building like that. So anyway,
that's something that is surprising to me is just, I grew up, I'm 2 hours from New York City. So like we had the first World Trade Center car bomb, around this time.
Yeah.
And so like what is always amazing to me with the Oklahoma City bombing is the magnitude of that bomb, because it took half the building off.
I mean,
like
they
the
could do,
front half.
they could do a documentary just about the people that were injured in the buildings that were destroyed outside of in the perimeter of the building. So it was, so I was glad to know that my mother was okay. It was odd. What reminded me though, in watching this documentary, first of all, Robin Marsh, news anchor, is an Oklahoma legend.
Really?
Oh, yes. We love Robin Marsh. Yes.
She's great. She's like, I was wearing a green shirt. Like she remembers what she was wearing.
I follow her on Instagram. She paints now for charity. I love her. Anyway, it reminded me though that night. Do you know when they were showing the footage that night and they were talking about the rain and they showed like the state of Oklahoma, where the tornado warnings were? We were in the bathtub. It was where I lived. So I remember though thinking like, kind of feeling like the world was ending. Like I just felt like attacked after that. And it was so, and my mother, so luckily, again, this is back in the day before cell phones. So this happened on the 19th. Well, it was on a Monday. And so the way it worked out is my mother and like 5 other women, this is before the days of direct deposit. So they would get paid on the 1st and the 15th. And then they would all wait till the Monday after, and they would go to the bank at 9 a.m., which was in the bottom of the Marr building. So my mother was going with all these women. They were going to be there at 9 a.m. to cash their checks and put them in their accounts.
Oh my God.
And one woman had to do something with her kids' school, and another woman was sick. And they said, we'll just do it this afternoon.
Isn't
so my mother,
something?
So it's interesting. And I think almost everybody in Oklahoma has this type of story the way New Yorkers have
With
about
9/11,
World Trade with 9/11, because Oklahoma is a smaller state, and these were, 168 people in this small state. That's a lot of connections people have.
Oh yeah.
So it was very it was, I think for Oklahomans, it was triggering when the World Trade Center happened.
Oh, I bet.
Like, because I remember when it happened, I was in class, I was in college, but it brought back all those kind of same feelings because I know and it worked out. But I like the woman who's wanting to know if they're finding her baby. I know what that's like, wondering if my mom is in this thing. And granted, I only had to go through that for an hour and a half. And so I can't imagine going through it for days or weeks, or never. It was just, it's horrible.
So the people who lend their voice to this documentary, like the central figures, are Amy Downs, a woman who worked in the Murrah building and ended up getting pulled out miraculously. She's one of the only people who got
I
pulled
remember
out
that.
of
I
the
remember
wreckage.
seeing that on the news because we were watching the news. I remember then when everybody had to evacuate, they thought we're freaking out
second
at
bomb.
home. We're watching this in real time, terrified.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm sorry, Amy Downs.
No, that's okay. Renee Moore, who you just referenced, she was a mother whose son Tony died in the daycare. Robin Marsh, Oklahoman legend, apparently.
Yes.
Carl Spengler, his story was fascinating to me. He was the University of Oklahoma third-year resident in emergency medicine and trauma. And then our friend Bob Ricks from the Waco story. He's here again, and he is the FBI special agent in charge. Yeah. So, the documentary, I kind of want to just talk about after the bombing, if that makes sense, because the first 20 minutes is so hard to watch.
It was hard to watch.
I don't feel like I have a lot of commentary on it. It's like an experience. Like you just need to sit there and watch it. Do you know what I mean? It's intense. I think it's really well done. It's respectful, in my opinion. I really thought it was interesting. So the response to it is, as you can imagine, just total chaos. And one of the narratives that emerges is this narrative from Carl Spengler, who is the doctor. He, like many people did on 9/11, he runs towards the building. You know, he's at lunch or breakfast with a buddy, and they're knocked off their seats. The blast is so strong. He runs towards the building, and he really tugged at my heartstrings, because I don't think we talk enough in this country about what first responders have to deal with on a daily basis. And this guy was on site, and he was making life and death determinations for people. And, you know, he talks about this young girl that came to him, and he said she had, in his opinion, she had catastrophic head trauma. And he did not think that, because another thing was they didn't have a lot of room or ways to get people to the hospital for this emergency care. So they had to pick and choose who went and who could kind of stay. And he sent her to the makeshift morgue, and because he knew she was going to stop breathing. And he's like, at the end of the documentary, he's like, that still haunts me to this day, that I had to make that call. And he chose to send the other victim, who was an older woman who didn't have the severe head trauma. He sent her, and he said when he sent the little girl to the morgue, like the mother just came up and was dazed and just kind of did this wave and like turned around, walked away, and he tears up talking about it. Like it's an intense.
That was, to me, that he said that the mother couldn't even walk over to see. She just saw her child and waved goodbye at her child.
Yeah.
That was just.
But it's kind of like, you know, what we were talking about before with how you deal in an emergency. Like, so many people were just kind of walking around dazed because they didn't know what happened. They were in shock. They were stunned. They were injured. But first responders don't have that luxury. Like, they've got to be there, and they've got to be making these decisions. And I don't know. I just really felt for him in that moment.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, I think he and the mother were the two, like the two figures that really tore at my heart.
Yeah, me too. Little Miss Recap will return in a moment. For ad-free episodes, visit littlemissrecap.com/support. Amanda.
Amy.
For our sponsor, Lumi Gummies, today, I have an idea. I think we should do a rapid fire bonus round. Which 90-day celebrity stars need a Lumi Gummy or have taken a Lumi Gummy, maybe?
Okay. Madeline.
Oh, I have her on my list too. Manon. Manon could really use indica.
Yeah, to calm her the fuck down.
Calm down a little bit.
I think Jenny could use a sativa to maybe up the energy a little bit, because there's none there.
Funny you mentioned Jenny. I have Sumit's aunt can use one
definitely
to chill out a little bit.
She definitely could use one. This is a wild card. Florian could use one. I don't know what variety.
Yeah,
but
maybe
I feel
he needs a hybrid.
I feel like Florian on a gummy would be good.
Yeah. I also have Dylan's mom from Dylan and Patia.
Yeah.
And I have Luke's dad, of
Oh,
Luke and Madeline?
yeah.
Mhm. Yes.
Yeah.
And we can use Lumi gummies as well.
Yes.
Yes.
All the time.
Consistent, mellow, and super delicious, Lumi gummies are specifically designed to make you feel good, not stoned. Whether you're looking for an end of the day de-stressor, a midday mood boost, or help getting the best sleep ever, Lumi gummies has a strain that's right for you. So, Amanda, our flavor that we like a lot in this home is the sour strawberry cookie hybrid.
Ooh, is it particularly sour?
It's not super sour because I don't
Okay.
like sour things.
Yeah, I don't either.
But I just find that it's the perfect blend of up and down. It's right in the middle.
Nice.
But you feel good. I really like it.
I'm a hybrid girly myself, and I'm going to go with the watermelon sorbet because I do enjoy watermelon, and it's just a nice, cool, chill evening of watching TV.
You know what I need to do? I need to take one before Sister Wives comes out.
Yes.
Before I meet my arch nemesis.
Yes.
In the ring.
Yes. I think it would help you a great deal. I think it would help Cody Brown a great deal.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Guys, Lumi gummies are available nationwide. Go to lumigummies.com. That's LUMI gummies.com. Use code Little Miss Recap for 30% off your order. That is Lumi Gummies, LUMI gummies.com. Code Little Miss Recap. Lumis.com. Code Little Miss Recap. It's 30%. And the link is in the show notes if you guys need it. So we get into this whole thing with Bob Ricks. He's talking about like responding to this as a criminal investigation. So he gets there and he's got another emergency responder situation. You got to get there. You got to preserve evidence. You got to set up a crime scene. You got to do all that stuff while everybody's screaming, running around, hurting. Like it's just total chaos. And he says they're trying to save as many people as they can who pour out of the building. You have mothers screaming, running towards the building. Like they have actual footage, guys. I highly recommend watching it if you can handle it. Like if this is something of interest to you, it's really, you have to see it.
I remember a teacher turned it off. We were watching the news and like you could hear in the news reporter, you could hear people calling out. Yeah. And I remember my teacher started crying and turned it off, and she said, she said a prayer in class, and yeah.
I will tell you, I still can't watch anything about 9/11. Like it's too fresh. There was a really good documentary.
Yeah, go ahead.
There was a really good documentary a few years ago that focused on the plane that the passengers took down. And it featured like all their voicemails calling their loved ones to. I'm like, nope, can't. Like I just can't do it yet. I'm not there.
This is the first thing I haven't watched anything 9/11 either, honestly. Yeah. And this is the first time I think I've watched anything Oklahoma City bombing related.
Oh, I'm sorry, and I asked you.
No, it was fine. No, it was actually what, and we can talk about it later in the aftermath. This was because it was hard at the time because they would show the thing that they didn't show a lot. I mean, they talked about one story, but that nursery was on the bottom, and so basically all those children were killed. And so, of course, the news is showing pictures of and there was a specific one. I don't even remember her name. I just remember her child was this very bright redheaded child, and she was a redheaded woman. And this was my mom's friend that she knew. So, like, my mom she knew like 4 or 5 people who survived. Some had a child that died, and then she knew like 10 people that had died. So it was just, so it again, she wasn't there, but it felt personal. So I think about, anyway, I haven't watched anything since that just because it was,
it's hard.
I do think though, what I appreciated about this is, Oklahoma's a different state than when I grew up in it. And it's a much more, I don't mean to jump into politics more. I don't mean this word in this way, but it was a less radicalized state when I grew up in it. And because I think people being shitting glitter gay and theater, they were like, oh God, I bet it was so hard for you to be in Oklahoma. And I'm like, It actually wasn't,
Yeah.
like, I had a community that supported me.
Mm-hmm.
My parents loved me. I got to do what I wanted to do. Yeah, there were I definitely felt othered, but for the I wasn't really bullied.
And
I
in being gay as a Gen Xer, that was commonly the experience.
Yes. So
It
I
was,
was lucky. I mean, I
it
had
was a
an older
different time.
brother and cousins that would have beat the shit out of any. I mean, my sister,
Yeah.
cousin Kelly, she don't care how big she is. She would beat the
Right.
living tar out of you.
Right.
Well, so there was that too. And maybe because sometimes in small towns, you can't bully other people because everybody's connected.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, this helped me recognize that like guns weren't really a thing when I grew up.
Oh, we're gonna get to the guns.
So that's why I
Mm-hmm.
appreciated this documentary, was to
Yep.
see kind of, I think I look back and I'm like, oh, I think this was part of the radicalization of Oklahoma.
Yes. Actually, we'll talk about it later, but to me, these three events are connected.
Agreed.
Waco, this, even Ruby Ridge, I would say 4 events, and Columbine. They're all connected for me because they all happened kind of around the same pocket of time, and they all kind of, changed, I think, the political landscape in this country in a different way. So, okay, so an hour and 20 minutes after the bombing, Charlie Hanger, just your average Oklahoma highway patrolman, he is told to stay on his regular routine patrol while everyone else is heading down to Oklahoma City. And he pulls over a guy in an old yellow Mercury with no license plate. And the guy driving was tall, slender, military haircut. And this was interesting because he had a gun on him. Charlie runs a background check. The guy's clean, like everything's fine. But the gun was loaded, and that was an offense that he could take him to jail for. I don't know if that's illegal now.
I was going to say, I meant to ask my brother about it. He's a volunteer sheriff. I don't think that is illegal now.
Right. I would imagine that Oklahoma City probably has concealed weapons. You could probably have a concealed weapon. I think.
I know that, and it's not an open carry state, I don't think. But
I should know this.
But my brother walks around with a gun all the time. So, I mean, it's not.
Oklahoma is generally considered an open carry state, allowing individuals to carry firearms openly without a permit as long as they are not violating other laws.
Yeah, it was in 2019 that it repealed the requirement that people need a license and a background check to get firearms.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So thank God for that law at the time of this.
Yeah.
We might have never found this guy.
Yeah. So
he's kind of dumb in some ways and would have gotten caught.
Yeah. I mean, dude, if like just the basic, he didn't have a license plate.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on.
So he's taken into custody. I wrote because gun laws. Thank you. And he's taken into the county jail, and it's Timothy McVeigh. And while he's in the jail, I just imagine in my mind like this Mayberry type situation with the jail right there and somebody at the desk. He's watching the Oklahoma City bombing on TV.
Yeah.
It's wild.
That's wild.
Now they start to try to figure out what happened. At first they thought maybe it was a gas leak. Then they determined it was a bomb, a very powerful bomb. And we meet Lee Hancock. She's from Dallas Morning News. And she says, people really thought it was a terrorist attack. And when they say terrorist attack at this time, they're talking about brown people. Brown people from outside the United States coming into the United States and doing something.
Yes. Yeah.
So this is where we get into the Middle Eastern men as suspects. 1 million people are calling. One woman even says, when the reporter's saying, what did these Middle Eastern men look like? She goes, I don't know. They all look the same. Wow.
Yeah, and one even said, and they were wearing they were wearing these outfits or these clothes, and I'm like, you mean a hijab, which is what they wear normally. So it really, that was. But I remember.
Yeah, I remember it.
My own family and friends around me were all speculating that too.
Yeah, absolutely. So now someone in the newsroom points out to Lee that this is the 2nd anniversary of Waco. And now we're starting to put these pieces together. We get a flashback to 1993, of course, the Waco. And I'll put the link to our episode of Waco in the show notes, guys. We did like an exhaustive deep dive into Waco. So
I'll
it
watch
was
that documentary. That'll be I'll watch it.
It was let me just say this. I grew up with a certain impression of Waco, and it changed my impression of it. Like now I realize the FBI really fucked that up. Whereas I grew
Mm.
up in the rhetoric of, we had to stop this mad crazy guy who had all these weapons and blah blah blah. But it's an interesting discussion of government overreach. It's interesting. So 76 people died at Waco. If you guys remember, the reason they raided the compound was because of the arsenal that David Koresh was amassing. So it was like a gun issue. That's what they used to get in there. And 76 people died. 22 of them were children. And in the Waco documentary, they show footage of Timothy McVeigh there. He's there and he's handing out anti-government pamphlets. Like he's already becoming sort of radicalized at this point. Lee Hancock tells us that Waco was the lowest point in modern history of the FBI and really started drumming up the gun debate. People were forming militias. Like it was getting intense.
Yeah.
And at one point, like you said, they think there's another bomb and there's not. So it's interesting how they traced this truck because it was the rear axle housing that flew like a block away. That's how strong that blast was.
Yeah.
A rear axle is like the guy described as a helicopter. Like they're big, especially
big,
for a truck.
Heavy, yes.
So for that to blow a block away.
Yeah, that's what I don't. Yeah, I mean, just there were other buildings that were torn down, that were destroyed.
It was insane. So
all the windows were gone, all that. Yeah,
they find the serial number and they trace it back to a rental place in Kansas, Junction City,
Kansas. It is interesting too how they were starting to have computers and things like that, but you forget like kind of like really skilled detectives, truly, to find this information out this quickly. It's pretty impressive.
I agree. A lot of documentaries I watch that are from, as my kids would say, the 1900s, which is where I grew up. A lot of times I'm like, I can't believe the police solved this.
Yeah.
Because it really does, like without just not having DNA is wild.
Yeah. Yeah.
So now they're starting to canvass the area and they go to this Junction City truck rental place. And the people remember them who rented the trucks and they're able to provide a sketch. And everybody's like, oh my God, it's white men. Like they're stunned.
I remember that. It was this feeling of, I mean, I didn't have it as much because I was younger, but it was though this initial of you know, especially back then, this is, we had already had the Gulf War. So already.
Yeah, this is 95.
This is 95. People had died already in the war. So we already had a face to an enemy.
Yes.
And and that was easy to do because you're a world away and we know nothing about you and you look different and all that. But this was, I remember people even in my community were just shocked and very much kind of that idea of, but why? And people just asking why? Because no one can understand why a white person would do this.
And I think, and I don't want to
which is gross in a lot of ways. So.
I don't want to misattribute this, but I think it's Lee Hancock, but I'm not 100% sure. But one of them is like, one of the news people was like, we were just stunned that it was like one of us. And I was
yes,
like,
that was, what is she before Robin Marsh, she looks so different now. She at Newsline 9, she was like the big Jennifer Reynolds.
Thank you.
Jennifer,
yes.
She's a huge icon in Oklahoma City news as well. So
yeah.
Jennifer Reynolds talked so Robin Marsh could wear that green jacket.
So while all this is happening, the parents, including Renee Moore, they're in a staging area just waiting to hear if their kids are alive. And this reminded me of when I worked with the Sandy Hook community. Like they were all shuttled to the firehouse waiting to hear if your kids are alive. Could you imagine that time?
My mother my mother went there.
Jesus.
She was like, because she had friends there. And so she went to just like console friends and help out. Because a lot of federal employee government workers, their jobs stopped. And so a lot of them ended up doing volunteer stuff, just doing whatever they could for their friends and people. A lot of people did that. That's a whole story, but people left their jobs and just went to go help. So
yeah,
there was
that's
that
actually
too.
my next point here. Like in the days that follow, Oklahoma rallies around the victims and the first responders and the people who are, cleaning up, and the
Mhm.
community just showers them with supplies and anything they need, and they call it the Oklahoma Standard. So is that a thing? Or
I
like
mean,
is this the first time you're kind of hearing it?
no, I mean, I think I don't think it's an Oklahoma standard. I think it's a human standard. And because I don't think it's individual to any state. And I bring that up in that, I've never been more proud to be an Angelino after living here 21 years than after the fires
Yep.
and seeing what we did as a community in Los Angeles in
Yeah.
January. So I think, and we see that in what happened in Tennessee with the floods last year and what the community. So I just think that's a human standard, but
I
I
don't
think
think though that it had been tested a lot. I
we
think
hadn't. I mean,
since
this is the largest. People
Yeah.
forget this was the
It
greatest
was,
act
yeah.
of terror on United States soil in history.
Yep.
And also, too, I think something that is important for, I think, Americans, but especially in Oklahoma. In Oklahoma, you think if you live in Oklahoma, you're safe. You
Yeah.
think the things happen. The World Trade Center bombing happens.
It's a
Like,
good
I
point.
think it's the same like what first shocked Columbine as well. Those things happen in the cities.
Yeah.
Never happens in good old rural small town America, because Oklahoma City then was this is before the Oklahoma City Thunder basketball team was there, all before it really, I mean, it was the biggest city in the state. But I bet you at the time when this happened, I bet you maybe it was a town of like probably 400,000 people.
Yeah.
It wasn't a ton. So it's and it was just a shock that this happened as they say in a lot of these, that it happened in our backyard.
Yeah. Yeah. I get that. So meanwhile, let's not forget that Timothy McVeigh is in jail watching this all unfold on the TV.
The whole thing.
And he is supposed to go before a judge the next day to be arraigned, but the judge was too busy, so they keep him another day.
I mean, as we say back home, it was Jesus wanted him called.
Yeah.
Or what,
Yeah.
but
Yep.
thank you for the odds.
Yeah. So the sketch is disseminated around the community, and the police are canvassing everywhere, and they come across this Dreamland hotel where the owner recognizes them, and they're able to get real leads here. And this is where they find that Timothy McVeigh used his real name to rent a hotel room. I mean,
again, I think the guy would have been caught eventually anyway, because he was not a smart man.
He was not too smart.
No.
So they search. Now they need, this is what you were talking about, the computers and stuff. They need to search the database to see if he's ever been arrested. We know he didn't have a record because they did the traffic check, but now we need to see if he's ever been arrested. And they have to do it by these big tapes.
If you were under
one.
35 years old, especially 30, you were confused by this.
Yes.
Because you don't know but
Guys,
that is, yeah.
We did our best, and all you need to know is electronics of any sort were just really big in the 80s and 90s. Everything was huge.
I think my sophomore year was the first time I took a computer class, like computer science. And even then, remember thinking, okay, these are cool, but I think you'll just use it for like special things.
Yeah.
If you want to type and write a paper or something.
It's kind of like, I was thinking about this the other day. It's like when we started using AI for like stupid things, we were like, oh, AI can, like, I don't know, proofread this paper for me. And now it's like slowly becoming like it's replacing our jobs and our lives.
Yeah. I just had a graphic artist where you do art, and normally things that take him to do art for shows takes forever, or takes like a week process. He did it in like 2 hours, and he said, AI is taking my job.
Yeah. As a writer, I feel that. I mean, nobody's hiring writers anymore. So they find an alias, Robert Kling, by tracking down. So Timothy McVeigh, while he's staying in the hotel, calls a local restaurant, orders some takeout, and uses an alias. Why would you not use the alias to book the room?
This again, for people that are like, well, but you had to put your credit card and then show.
Probably
No,
not.
y'all, this is not, especially a seedier hotel like this.
You're just paying cash.
You can just pay cash back then.
Mhm.
Again, the credit card, if you gave them your credit card, they would put it on a machine with a piece of paper and go chunk, chunk, and take a carbon copy of it to mail off to the credit. Like, yo, it's a whole.
Nothing was electronic, basically.
I mean, I'm not like Jake. I don't want to be a criminal secretly. He kind of does. But to me, I just think it was a lot easier to be a criminal before computers.
Oh, yeah. I talk about this all the time. Like, my sister and I did a whole podcast on Little House on the Prairie. And it was basically
Reboot,
like,
it's happening.
It's like nothing was on record. Like you could just be whoever you wanted to be. Like, oh yeah, hi, I'm Matt Marr's sister, Amy. And they'd be like, okay.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, they just believe everything. Yes. That's true.
So at this point is when they realized that this was absolutely domestic terrorism and these people are in the country. Yeah. Timothy McVeigh, watching all of this from his cell, said the other people were kind of like, dude, that sketch looks like you. And he's like, no. That sketch is saying 5'10". I'm 6'2". There's no way. And they're like, okay.
And they said, and Don Knotts went, okay, Andy, we're okay.
So the FBI finds out now that he's been arrested and he is in, is it Perry? Perry.
He's in
Oklahoma.
Perry, Oklahoma. And I didn't know that it was, literally he is at the courthouse talking to seeing the judge, going to be potentially released in like 30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah, they were probably going to release him because they probably would have been like, okay, you have to pay this fine or whatever.
Again, it's a misdemeanor. Yeah. Don't have a loaded gun, keep your gun. But yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's 30 to 45 minutes from walking out the door. So they fly over there to get him. And the press gets a hold of this. It's a wild scene outside the Perry courthouse. They have to protect Timothy McVeigh because they need him alive. Because at this point, they know he did it, but they don't know, is this some part of a bigger criminal network? Yeah. Is this, what is this? So he comes out and he's booed and he's real upset about it.
He's real, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's real upset about it.
We have audio from McVeigh and he's saying, yeah, they were calling me a baby killer and stuff. And I was just like, fuck off. Okay.
Right. I mean, he's
trash.
He's
So simultaneously, they're raiding this house in Michigan, an address that Timothy McVeigh had been using. It's the home of Terry Nichols and his brother. So they track Terry Nichols to Kansas. He turns himself in Harrington, Kansas. So they were doing surveillance on him and they think he made the surveillance and he just like I would do, just drove to the police station and turned yourself right in. I'm not even doing this.
Man, he's like, fuck this. The gig is up.
Yeah.
And I remembered him, but I didn't remember the third guy.
I didn't remember the third guy either.
No, so I just remember hearing
these two.
Those two. That's what I remembered as a kid.
They search Terry's home. They find a shit ton of incriminating items.
Everything. Literally, there's a book that says How to Build a Bomb for Dummies. Yes, it's just so clear.
The neighbors are like, he's getting rid of so much ammonium nitrate in his yard. It looks like it's snowing over there. Dude, take it to the river or something. These people.
Yeah. Again, just idiots.
So thank God, because it enabled us to catch them. But Timothy McVeigh's dad now gives them the name of Michael Fortier. He is in Arizona, and Timothy McVeigh and Terry Nichols were all in the military together.
Mm-hmm.
Michael Fortier has the Don't Tread on Me flag going.
He does have the Don't Tread. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So they tie it all together with reusable calling cards these idiots were using.
Again, if you're under the age of 30, you're like, wait, what? Y'all, we had to buy these prepaid cards. That's that's how you would call people back.
Yeah, if you were calling long distance, it was expensive. People probably don't even know. My kids probably don't even know what long distance means.
No, they probably don't. No,
my gram would always call it out of town. I have to make an out of town call.
They don't remember that AT&T commercial with Whitney Houston singing.
No, they don't. They don't.
Mm-hmm.
So they realized it was a small group and it was really kind of only contained to them. And it was, pretty premeditated planning here.
Mm-hmm.
Little Miss Recap will return in a moment. For ad-free episodes, visit littlemissrecap.com/support. Now, regrettably, they have to give Fortier a deal to cooperate, and he gives them a ton of evidence and information against McVeigh and Nichols. And they're really frustrated because they said he knew this was going to happen, and one phone call could have stopped it, but he didn't do it. And now they have to give this guy a deal.
Yeah.
All right, now comes the why. So we got the who, what, now the why.
Okay.
Reporter from Buffalo, Lou Michel, is somebody who was able to interview Timothy McVeigh while he was in prison. Matt, Timothy McVeigh was bullied.
He was bullied.
He was bullied.
He was bullied. Yeah. He,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you kind of, isn't it interesting watching a lot of these? I don't think you just hope, but you expect, it's going to be a different story than the same old story that we've heard. But what we find is this is all such a commonality with these people that fit the profile that do school shootings and all that kind of stuff. It's all the same.
Yeah, he felt, and I'm not trying to excuse what he did in any way, but this is somebody who grew up feeling like they didn't have a voice, they weren't seen, they weren't heard, and unfortunately, they found their voice for evil, essentially. I hate to reduce it down to that, but
and they felt weak.
Yeah.
And so they then jumped into the narrative, which is, I think, a very mainstream negative narrative in our country of to be a man means you need to have guns, and that's what makes you strong. And it goes into a lot. You could go in, even the Call of Duty video, all the video games and the culture and everything is so. And now that we say you killed it or you nailed it, or these words we use to support and build up men, it's all connected to me.
Do you remember, I don't know if you remember how much you remember around Columbine, but I remember in the days after Columbine happened, they were like, they were playing the Doom video game. Remember that?
Oh, yeah.
And that was they were trying to blame that. And people at the time were like, I think, rightfully so, saying, no, this is a bigger picture. It's not one thing. It's some kind of cultural shift was happening. And I think, this was the period when it was happening, and we're on the other side of it now, and it's not good.
It's not good. No, no.
So, Michelle is saying that Timothy McVeigh had no meaningful relationships with women. He sold his comic books for guns. So this is a really interesting thing. It's a simple example. And again, it's probably reductive, but to me, that is such a metaphor of this kid selling his comic books for guns.
Yeah.
Because
I thought that too.
When we were growing up and much younger, that's what you did if you were picked on, or if you were a quote unquote nerd, or you didn't fit in. I know that was for me. Books were my salvation for that, or the arts in some way. And here's somebody who's trading that for guns.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's just, ugh. So he serves in the first Gulf War. He even got a Bronze Star. And then after the war, he was sort of a lost soul. He was just bouncing around the country, kind of looking for his place to fit in. And he started to get into fundamental rights, gun rights. And here's another thing. He starts listening to right-wing radio shows.
Yeah.
Which, that was a thing in the 90s too, that just happened. We didn't have that.
Yeah. My aunt who lived with us, her husband, he fucking loved Rush Limbaugh. Loved him.
Yeah. And it was sort of, we always had people who would, try to radicalize whatever. But you never saw it like you did in the 90s, especially with Rush Limbaugh. These people who just had this open platform, and through syndication were able to, go in the ear holes of a million people. And they're saying the government's coming for your guns. They're coming to take them. It's bad. They're just pumping this out. And today we're at the extreme of that, where you're hearing it from trusted leaders, putting that in quotes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's crazy. So, he's becoming radicalized.
He's becoming radicalized, yeah.
And he reads the Turner Diaries, which is it's a book that's written by a white supremacist. It's a bad book, guys. It's a Bible for right-wing.
I'm sure. Have you heard of it already?
Yeah, it's real bad. Timothy McVeigh is also really affected by Waco. That is probably the inciting incident.
I didn't know that Waco was such I knew it was connected to the bombing and all that kind of stuff. But I didn't know it was such like a call, literally a call to arms for so many Americans.
Yes.
Who felt that, again, that, the government will come and take their guns.
Well, we had Ruby Ridge right before that, which was the standoff with the FBI agents and the guy who was on his own property with his weapons, and they ended up like shooting his dog and his wife. Like, it got real messy. And so there was that. And then you had Waco, and you know what I mean? Like, it's all kind of
all around the same time too.
And you're seeing the government in real time sort of trying to figure out, how do we regulate this? Like, this is out of control.
Yeah. Also, too, I can't help but, and I don't know the specifics of Ruby Ridge, but it does in this with Timothy McVeigh. It also, the timing of it too, that a lot of that happened after the first Gulf War. So after we had sent people, I think it also, and I think there's a connection of how we support or really truly don't support our veterans that come back from war and the aftermath of that, and how they, because as you said, Timothy McVeigh was just kind of floating around, had nowhere to go, nothing to do. And so, and we know, PTSD was not a thing talked about in the 90s.
No, not at all.
So, that's getting better, but still, I just can't help but see the correlation of after the Gulf War. And that's when we started having this radicalization of ex-white military men.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And again, it's still a problem. It's way worse now.
Yeah, we know it, PT, but we still don't do a lot with it.
And the answer to how do we find a balance between being able to own guns but not amassing an arsenal is, we still haven't figured that out. So Amy Downs testifies. Now it's the trial, and Amy Downs even testifies, and Timothy McVeigh is found guilty. He's sentenced to death. Interestingly, Renee Moore, the mother that we met earlier, so what happened is her son Tony died. He was 6 months old. I was very happy, and I know this is a small consolation, but they were able to at least find his body and return him to her.
Oh, no. Yeah.
And she was thrilled with that.
Yeah.
And she did not want Timothy McVeigh to die because she felt like he should have had to live this life. And I thought that was interesting. Carl says he never had training on the human factor in a mass casualty situation. He never realized what this would do to him. And he says the little girl still haunts him. And he retired after 20 years and he sells real estate in Tulsa.
He does.
And I say, good for you, Carl, because you probably had a really fucking stressful life.
Yeah, a really fucking stressful life.
We see this a lot. Go ahead.
Listening to him talk about it, he's still there. Like a part of him is still right there.
100%.
It's heartbreaking. Because even with Renee, you could, I don't know how she could talk through that and not just heave sobs. But she was talking about having her other son. And I went, wow, she's really able to, you can tell she's processed this in a way, but I don't think he has.
I agree with you 100%. So I know you know that I did that book with school shooting survivors. And one of the oldest narratives that we collected was from people who were at the University of Texas tower shooting. So that was in 1962, I think.
I remember 66. Seeing documentaries about that though.
66. So a gentleman who was there who actually aided some of the victims and stuff like that. When I was writing this book together, we put together a proposal for a conference, and it was actually it was March 1st, 2020. I flew on an empty plane home from this conference.
Oh.
And so we were at the conference, and he spoke at the conference. This man cried. It had been 50 years.
Yeah. And
he cried like a baby, Matt, remembering that day. Like, if you think this trauma goes away, it does not.
No,
for these people. It is not. We also worked with I don't know if you're familiar with the West Nickel mine shooting. It was that Amish schoolhouse in Pennsylvania where the guy So we spoke to a first responder from that, and this was a guy who was in the military. He was a Navy SEAL, and he came home and was a first responder, he couldn't even talk to us. Like, he was sobbing, and he's like, I can't participate. Like, I'll never forget that, because it's just so powerful. And I think that until we start really thinking about trauma as a collective problem instead of something that happens in isolation, we need to, it's a whole thing. I'm not going to get on my soapbox. So Amy Downs feels blessed to have embraced her second chance, and she's the CEO of the credit union now that she used to work at. You go, girl.
Federal Employees Credit Union. My mother's been a member for 50 years.
Yeah, she was like a low lady on the totem pole. Now she's fucking running the place. Good for you. And she's a mom. And that was something that she talked about. Like, she wasn't sure that she wanted to be a mother. And then when she was buried under that rubble, she really thought about what she was doing with her life. Michael, 40 years, spent 10 years in prison, and he and his wife are now in witness protection. Do you sometimes wonder if you know anybody in witness protection?
Oh, boy.
Think about it.
I can't go here because...
What if Jake is in witness protection?
Well...
Or like, Mary Payne.
No, they both in different ways get too wine drunk in public and do silly things. When back in the day, I know that you've talked about this before, but when Unsolved Mysteries with Robert Stack was on, my brother, my mother finally told my brother, she said, you can't watch this show anymore, because my brother would always think somebody was our neighbor. And then he would go and like try to watch them.
Okay. He was solving crimes.
Which he ended up being, he doesn't do it anymore, but he was volunteer sheriff for about 5 years. So I think that's always been somewhat of a passion for him.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't watch a lot of true crime because I won't ever go to, as I say, I'll never go to a parking garage at night alone.
I know.
So I don't have those thoughts because I just stick my head in the sand. So probably, to answer your question, I'm sure that I do, and I just don't know it.
It's wild, right? To think like Michael Fortier and his wife are out there just living as somebody else.
I know, and it just...
Could be Mary Payne and Dave Gilbert. We don't know.
But man, you just... I try... Man, I hope he's living a horrible life. I truly do.
He got away with this. Like, he knew about Timothy McVeigh put him in a car and said, come on, let me show you where I'm going to kill people. And so he knew. And I'm sure he was full aware that there was a daycare in there too.
Yeah.
I'm sure. So Terry Nichols was convicted of 161 counts of murder and is serving life without parole at the federal Supermax prison in Colorado. And Timothy McVeigh was executed in 2001. I remember when he was executed.
Well, it was before 9/11. I think he was executed, the summer.
That's a good question. I remember it happening.
I'll
look it up.
But I remember people...
yeah, it was June 11th.
People celebrating. I was in college at the time, but I remember people in Oklahoma talking about it. So... because I come from a place that they read the Bible and an eye for an eye. So that's what they believe.
It's hard for me. I always am like, I don't believe in the death penalty. I don't, whatever. But then I think if I'm a parent and something happens to my child, how you say you have a little bit of, that's the Marr way. I got a little bit of that in me.
I feel the same way too. That's not something but then when you're in that situation, what stops me though, and this is again, and I think this is what's interesting about this documentary, is you and I kind of have split off into several different mini tangents, because I think it's so connected into the fabric of what brought America to the country it is now.
Yeah.
In so many facets
I agree.
of our culture. But for me, with the death penalty, it's I want them to go to jail. Now, if someone beats the shit out of them in jail and they die from those things, that doesn't bother me. But I always feel like, what is the person, the man or the human that is the person administering the shot?
I know.
it's that person actually that I feel for, and
that's an interesting thought.
I don't feel like it's fair to ask anyone to do that.
I agree.
So that's where I go.
Also, too, like I heard this sort of conversation. It was on a podcast. It was actually, no, it wasn't. It was Dan Rather in conversation with Howard Stern. And
Dan Rather is like so great.
I know. And
they
were talking about Vietnam, and I was like, I need to listen every minute of this. But Dan Rather was talking about how it actually started with the assassination of JFK, the turn in this country. Because when that happened, people very, very slowly, it was like a drip, 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 started to distrust the government. And I think after that, then you had 68, which was, a nightmare.
Mm-hmm.
And then you go into the Vietnam stuff. Like it just built and built and built.
Really,
and built.
Reagan was so popular because he ran on an anti-government platform.
Yeah,
truly.
Yeah. So I think, the boomers, and I say this about my mom all the time, and I think, your mom is the same way. My mom is 70. How old is your mom?
My mother's 74.
Okay. So my mom, she trusts institutions. She puts her head down. She goes to work. She does what the man tells her to do. You know what I mean? Like they just grew up in a different time.
Mm-hmm.
And Gen Xers, we don't have that. We don't trust institutions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know.
That's true.
And I just think the 90s is when that really came to a head. Yeah. And there were a lot of school shootings in the 90s. There were many before Columbine that a lot of people don't even know about in these small towns that kind of, it crescendoed into what is Columbine. But there were many before that. And I think this is when we were like, now we can't even trust schools. Like we can't really. Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's a wild thing. I just pulled up though.
Yeah, that's true.
Timothy McVeigh did cite the Ruby Ridge standoff as a factor in his decision to bomb the Oklahoma City Federal Building as well as Waco.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there we go.
There you go.
All right, Matt, Marr, I think we've said it all.
Wow. Well, I appreciate you. I really don't feel bad. I actually was happy. I was glad that I watched this just because it kind of helps, the thing about this, and I know you've talked about this, but someone who kind of avoids things like this, because I just, well, not things like this. I like documentaries like this, and I want to watch the Waco one.
You got to protect your peace a little bit, like you
got to protect your peace, but this helps me organize the world a little bit more and see how I think, again, some of us are asking, like, how do we get here? How did our country be what it is now? This just happened overnight. And I think you just brought up a great point. And I never, ever thought that about JFK, but I think that's spot on, how that really was the beginning of that the insecurity in the government, but also that idea of what I talked about earlier when we found out it was a suspect who was white was, we're not safe here.
Yeah.
Wars happen in Vietnam.
Yeah.
Wars happen in Korea, in Saudi Arabia. They don't happen here. Because they hadn't really since the Civil War. Mm-hmm. So anyway, I think that this reminds me that that's not the case. Actually, this has been.
Yeah, no, I agree. I want to end too real quick with just saying 168 people died that day, including 19 children. And it was April 19th, 1995.
If you are in Oklahoma City, I would, the memorial site is beautiful.
I was looking at pictures of it. Is there a field of empty chairs?
Mm-hmm. It's a field of empty chairs for every person that was killed. It's a beautiful memorial. They did a really nice job, and Oklahoma City now they built it up. It's actually getting much better for things to do. It's. If you're driving through, even if you're driving through Oklahoma, which is what a lot of people do, I highly recommend going and just seeing it.
Yeah. All right, guys. If you don't know Matt Marr, he is one half of the Fabulous Reality Gaze, and I suggest you listen. You guys cover what? 90 Day everything.
90 Day, Love After Lockup, which we're doing the old ones now, which we love. I was telling you, we did announce it. We are covering Secret Lives of Mormon Wives season 2.
Very exciting.
So we're excited for that. That drops on May 15th on Hulu. And yeah.
Are you doing the Hunt for Love?
We have seen. I don't think we're going to have time to cover. It was kind of, this Mormon Wives drops at a great time in that we're in this last resort close. So now we have a month. But sorry, I'm thinking of a different show. Yes, we're doing Hunt for Love.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we're doing Hunt for Love.
You were thinking of Diaries.
No, we're doing Diaries now because we don't have anything else. Yeah. But no,
you're gonna do the Hunt for Love.
I was thinking
looks so
good. Yes, we're doing Hunt for Love. Yes, I'm still used to that show. I still call it, because of Kim from Cray Cray, I still call it Mexican Fuck House. So Hunt for Love, which is not a great name. No. It's not stuck in my head yet. So because we actually heard, I think we've all known about. I've known about this for like 7 months, but we couldn't say anything about it. Oh yeah. But we thought it was going to be called 90 Day Gone Wild. Yeah. And so that's in my head too, which I think is another great name. Mm-hmm. But anyway, they went
any other name other than Hunt for whatever Love. Stupid.
I did notice they are gearing up because I've watched Diaries for this week, and we are getting they're catching us up on Yennefer and Tim and all this shit.
Well, we'll be listening because we're not covering that. So we're going to tune in and listen to you.
We are covering Diaries for once because it is better this year, but also Last Resort is gone and we have to put out 3 shows a week. So, so that's why we're covering it. But yeah.
All right. Anyway, and you're at Reality Gaze on everything.
RealityGaze.com. You can follow us on, I think our Instagram is Reality Gaze Podcast and TikTok is Reality Gaze Pod. And you can follow me at the Matt Marr, 2 T's, 2 R's.
Thank you so much, Matt.
Thank you, Amy. I love you very much.
I love you. We'll see you soon. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Little Miss Recap. If you'd like to support the show, the best way you can do that is to join our Twin Flame universe, which is our Patreon, Supercast, and Apple subscription feeds. The links for those are in the show notes. You get ad-free episodes and a ton of bonus content. You can also subscribe to the feed so you don't miss an episode, share the show with a friend, and leave a 5-star review. To contact the show, please email me directly at amy@littlemissrecap.com or join our Facebook group Backdoor Friends. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time.